to you by Hills Brothers Coffee. For the Kansas City Royals, managed by Ned Yost. Leading off in the left field, Alex Gordon. Emilio Bonifacio at third base bats second. Eric Hosmer at first base bats third. The DH batting fourth, it'll be Billy Butler. Justin Maxwell in right field bats fifth. George KOTTARAS will get the call behind the plate. He'll bat sixth. Batting seventh, shortstop Alcides Escobar. Chris Getz at second base bats eighth. Gerard Dyson will be in center field. He'll bat ninth. Pitching for Kansas City here this afternoon, making just his ninth start of the year, has a record of 5 wins and 2 losses, will be the crafty veteran left-hander Bruce Chen. Here's your starting lineup for your Minnesota Twins. Brian Dozier at second base leads off. Pedro Florimon leads off, or bats second. He'll be at shortstop batting third. The DH Justin Morneau. Josh Willingham in left field bats fourth. Ryan Domet catches. He'll bat fifth. Trevor Plouffe at third base bats sixth. Batting seventh at first base, Chris Colabello. Wilkin Ramirez in right field bats eighth and batting ninth. And in center field will be Cleet Thomas. Pitching for Minnesota, 8 wins, 7 losses. His 18th start will be the Twins right-hander Samuel Deduno. Umpires Alan Porter will be calling balls and strikes today. Greg Gibson at first base. Crew chief Jerry Lane will be at second base, and Hunter Wendelstadt at third base. Get your game and your morning in gear with Hills Brothers Overdrive Blend. 20% more caffeine. It's Hills Brothers Coffee. Trust the taste. Share the tradition. Just started. Here's my partner. Here's Corey Provis.
Hi, Danny. Thank you very much. And today's opening pitch, once again, is brought to you by Minnesota Eye Consultants, the preferred ophthalmology group of the Minnesota Twins. Call 800-I2I or visit MNEYE.com for your eye care needs. Plenty of sunshine, blue skies, a light breeze. It is warm. Temperatures in the upper 80s on a humid afternoon here at the ballpark. Final game of this series and the final meeting this season between these two ball clubs, and all season long it's been all Kansas City. The Royals have taken 14 of the first 18 between these two teams all season long. In fact, this marks the first time since 2003 the Twins did not win a season series over the Royals. It'll be Alex Gordon, Emilio Bonifacio, Eric Hosmer due up in the Kansas City first inning. Samuel Deduno, good lifetime numbers against KC. On the mound today, making his 18th start, 8-7 ERA at 3.69. Working from the windup, and the opening pitch is outside, ball one, and we are underway here at Target Field. 87 sticky degrees here at game time. Gordon homered last night, now 15 on the year as Deduno misses inside. That one deflecting off the catcher Domet. Now 2 balls and no strikes. Gordon now 15 home runs. He's knocked in 70. His average overall at 270. He's knocked in a run in his last 4 ball games. Deduno working off the first base shot. As I said, good lifetime numbers against Kansas City. He's 3-1 in his career. ERA just over 2. A swing and a miss at 88 miles an hour. Now 2-1 on Gordon. Now this year Deduno has beaten the Royals twice. In fact, he lost for the first time ever in his most recent start against KC. That was back on August 7th at Kauffman Stadium. Gave up 4 runs on 12 hits as Gordon loops one foul behind the third base dugout. Now 2 balls and 2 strikes. Twins in their home whites. Twins on the front, blue pinstripes, tops and trousers. Blue caps, blue bills, the Royals, and the traveling royal blue tops, gray pants. Blue caps, blue bills, KC logo on the front. And the 2-2, a broken bat, ground ball, pulled it foul on the first base side. That bat ended up near the first base coach's box. Right above the handles where that bat shattered. On this warm and humid day, Danny, this is one of those days you have to load up the pine tar, don't you, to keep the grip?
You got to do a combo there, and that is the pine tar and the rosin. You use that, the pine tar, but there's a little stick they call the Moda stick. It's kind of a resin that you can run on there. A lot of guys like that. They feel it's a little more tackier.
The 2-2. Gordon rips one foul to right, deep out of play. And we'll do it again, 2-2.
I'm surprised where that bat broke. That thing probably just 5 inches off the handle of the bat.
Tolman sending Deduno signs. A tall right-hander again from the windup, and the 2-2 swing and a miss. He got him. 83 miles an hour. That slider hasn't been throwing that pitch all that often this year. Gordon strikes out, 1 away, first inning. No score, bases empty for the switch hitting third baseman Emilio Bonifacio. Looking up some numbers on Deduno before the game today, according to Fangraphs.com. He's been featuring for the most part fastball, curve, and a changeup, but a rare slider. But it works out there. Gordon strikes out, 1 down. Now Bonifacio takes a pitch outside for ball 1. Bonifacio appearing in his 15th game with the Royals. He was acquired earlier this month from Toronto. Plays third, plays some second. Changeup misses outside. And 2 balls and no strikes. Bonifacio hitting .306 with the Royals, has not homered, knocked in 3. He's 3 for 9 in this series. And the 2-0. He shows bunt, pulls it back, and Deduno misses inside. 3-0. Hosmer on deck. Getaway day for both teams. Twins head to Texas. And Deduno deals a strike called inside edge. And Bonifacio thought that was ball 4. He tossed the bat near Hosmer in the on deck area. And Alan Porter said, stay put. 3-1. Meanwhile, the Royals head to Toronto. 3 balls and a strike on Bonifacio. And here it comes. Strike 2 called. 87 miles an hour, hit the outside edge. And now it's full on the former Miami Marlin. Bonifacio again, Toronto this year. Good speed. And the 3-2 pulls a weak ground ball foul down the first base side. Ricochet off the camera pit. Right next to the Twins' first base dugout. Deduno last time out pitched well. It was the Friday ball game in Cleveland. 6 innings, 1 run. Walked 4, struck out 6. A swing and a drive left center field, but Willingham moving over to his left, and he pulls it down right near his left shoulder for out number 2. So 2 up, 2 down, no score. Bases empty for Hosmer. Yeah, but going back to that start for Deduno, and nobody really knew what to expect. He was dealing with some biceps inflammation throughout the week, and Anthony Swarzak was ready if needed to throw some innings, chew up some innings from the Twins bullpen, but Deduno stepped up and performed well as Hosmer knocks one foul off the screen behind the plate. 0-1. With that, he won for the 8th time this year. Hosmer snapped an 0 for 13 slide last night. The base hit, just 1 for 8 in this series. And he takes high ball 1. Hosmer on the season, though, batting .294. He's had a big month of August. Over 300 this month. 15 homers, 64 knocked in. The 1-1 is outside. Ball 2. Hosmer's been a tough out against the Twins pitching this year. And the 2-1. Outside corner, strike 2 call. The fastball at 91. And it's even now 2-2, but Hosmer, Butler, Perez not in the lineup today. KOTTARAS doing the catching. Escobar, they have been tough all season long. Swing and a miss. Hosmer strikes out off speed from Deduno. And the inning is over. Deduno strikes out 2. The Royals don't score. They leave none. We have played 1/2 at Target Field. Kansas City nothing. And the Twins coming up on your home for Twins baseball. Country Hearth-Bred, our proud partners this season. The toast of the Twins is Country Hearth-Bred. No score. Twins to bat for the first time today against the veteran left-hander Bruce Chen. Turned 36 back in mid-June. 6'2", 215 pounds. On the mound today for Kansas City. And Dozier leads off, and he takes a strike called at 83 miles an hour. And it's 0-1. Dozier 1 for 8 in this series with an RBI. His average at 241, sitting on 13 home runs. And the 0-1 misses outside a fastball at 84. 1 ball, 1 strike. Dozier 13 home runs. Tim Tuffle. More after this 1-1 pitch, a swing and a high pop-up on the infield near short. It'll be Escobar, the shortstop, calling, and he makes the catch, and Dozier pops out one away. Yeah, but Dozier 13 home runs. Tim Tuffle holds the Twins record. 14 home runs from a second baseman back in '84. So Dozier pops out, so one away here in the first inning. No score now. Pedro Florman batting in the 2-hole. He bunts. It goes foul behind the plate. 0-1. Danny, I brought up Chen's name to Gardy on the pregame show today, and he kind of mentioned he's the Royals version of Andrew Albers. Is that pretty fair?
Well, that's real fair. I think that similar pitchers, and that they're not going to overpower you. They're going to pitch to the corners. A lot of off-speed stuff. The fastball you will see will most likely be in off the plate. But he's one of those guys that'll lull you to sleep here thinking, okay, I'm looking soft, soft, soft. Then all of a sudden reach back for a little extra and top it out at 88.
Now the 0-2. Florman sends one foul in our direction, but down a few feet below.
There's also, Corey, a little deception in his delivery as well. And we had mentioned that about Albers. I think a lot of hitters have a tough time with his delivery. He hides the ball well. Chen also, and he'll drop down occasionally.
Florman skies one to left center field, but playable. Dyson to his right now in the alley. And he gets underneath it to make the catch for round number 2. Now, Chen, for the most part this year, he has been in the bullpen. That changed right around the All-Star break today. He's only making his 9th start. In his 28th overall appearance, Chen lost out during spring training. There were 3 guys going for the last spot in the Royals rotation. Chen, Hochevar, and Luis Mendoza, and Mendoza won that job. That changed around the All-Star break, and Chen's been starting ever since. 5-2 record. ERA is under 3. 2 down for Justin Morneau. Ground ball right side. Diving stop by GETZ. He bobbles, recovers from shallow right field. Throws out Morneau to end the inning. So Chen, like Caduno, with a 1-2-3 first through 1. We are scoreless on your home for Twins baseball. Mayo Clinic is a proud sponsor of Twins baseball. The Mayo Clinic's College of Medicine, preparing future physicians, scientists, and healthcare professionals. for the highest quality patient care of tomorrow. Billy Butler leads off. The Royals second takes outside ball one. Twins nothing, Royals nothing. Final game of this series. Twins hoping to avoid being swept. Butler 4 for 10 in this series, and the 1-0 is inside. His average at .297, 14 homers and 69 knocked in. He's been a tough out really ever since the All-Star break. You break down his season in halves. Since the All-Star break, batting over .350, and the 2-0 way outside ball three. Justin Maxwell on deck, and then George KOTTARAS, the 3-2 up for the Royals here in the second inning. You know, this guy has the 3-0 green light. And the pitch, not even close, ball four. So a 4-pitch walk to Butler, and he is the game's first base runner. It's the 41st walk issued by Duduno this year, and that covers more than 106 innings. Oh, with the win last night, coupled with losses by both the Tigers and Indians, the Royals picked up another game. In the Central, entering play today, the Royals 8.5 behind. First place Detroit. Tigers underway right now and trailing early 2-0. Oakland trying for a 4-game sweep at Comerica Park right now. Butler at first, nobody out. Maxwell the batter. And the pitch is inside, missed. Ball one. But outside of the division race, the Royals also still somewhat contending in the wild card. 7 games back of the aforementioned A's, but they would have to leapfrog several teams to get there. Duduno from the stretch, and the 1-0 off speed is a letter high strike called 1-1. If the season ended right now, the 2 wild card teams would be Tampa Bay and Oakland. Indians 4 back, Orioles 4.5 back, Yankees 5.5 behind, then the Royals 7 games behind Oakland. Butler at first, nobody out, no score, and the 1-1 curveball, strike 2 call. Good bender at the belt, and freezing Maxwell 1-2. Plouffe, Florimon, Dozier. Colabello at first today. Justin Morneau DHing. Colabello holding Butler on. And the 1-2 dips outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Maxwell today appearing in his 21st game with the Royals. He was acquired from Houston right at the trade deadline. Comes from a very proud military family. His father was the presidential dentist. From the stretch, and the 2-2 hit him. And Maxwell is livid. He slams the bat down. And now kind of staring at Duduno, and Ryan Domit is walking Maxwell up the first base line, but Maxwell staring at Duduno, and Maxwell got hit in the upper left arm near the shoulder, and he was none too happy about it. Slammed that bat down, and Domit had to pop up and kind of walk Maxwell to first, and now Alan Porter has issued warnings early on today, and Cardi can't believe it. Well, Danny, warnings were issued yesterday by Hunter Wendelstedt after Andrew Albers came inside, did not hit Salvador Perez. This was after Perez hit his first home run. And now Porter has thrown out Gardy. So Gardy's been ejected by Alan Porter. The warnings were issued yesterday, and warnings issued right away. And Duduno, as we have told the story many times, he has that fastball that can go anywhere. And he hit Maxwell, and Porter just came out, issued warnings, and Gardy came out to discuss why. And Porter gave him the gate. What do you make of just what happened?
Well, I think you touched on it. That Duduno is somewhat wild. We've always talked about the uncomfortable at-bats the opposing team has against him, and that was just a ball that ran up and in. I think Porter reacted based on the way Maxwell reacted, and that is he slammed his bat, stared out at the mound. I like what Domit did. He kind of came up and got in the grill of Maxwell and told him, hey, get your butt to first base, all right? Guy's not throwing at you, and you've got to know a little bit, have a better feel for the game as to who the players are, how they play, how they pitch. And I think Alan Porter is one of those guys that maybe still has a learning curve, because if he knows anything about Duduno, he knows he is a little bit wild. Unfair.
It's the 9th batter Duduno has hit this year. So Gardy ejected for the 4th time this year, 66th career ejection. And the Royals have 2 on, nobody out, and George KOTTARAS batting for Kansas City. And DeDuno drops a knee-high strike call, 0-1.
Well, Maxwell was hit by a pitch last night. Had some x-rays done. His wrist was fine, came back negative. But I think a lot of it has to do with how that player reacts to a ball being pitched inside, or in this case being hit.
2 on, nobody out, and the 0-1. Swing and a miss, 0-2. Curveball from Samuel that time, dipping down and in, so no balls and 2 strikes on KOTTARAS.
Well, I think just by the way that Maxwell reacted to being hit last night, being hit here, and both times, trust me, they're unintentional. That I just think that there's going to be some more of that directed at Maxwell now.
0-2 the count. Escobar on deck, and the pitch, a swing and a bouncing ball weakly wide at first. Colabello picks it up. He'll take it unassisted to the base. And KOTTARAS is out, number 1, but a productive out at that, advancing both runners. Butler to third, down to second, Maxwell. So no score, 1 out, and here's Escobar. Just watching that play and watching that moment develop, there was no way that was intentional. For DeDuno to hit Maxwell this early in the game in that spot with Butler on at first and nobody out. The story that we have told many times about DeDuno back in 2012 when he began his season at Rochester. Gene Glenn had the entire team in the clubhouse day before their first game, and he had all the players one by one introduce yourself and say something about yourself to your teammates. And it came to DeDuno, and he said, "Hi, I'm Samuel DeDuno, and I throw a crazy fastball," verbatim, as Escobar lines one foul to the right side, 0-1. And we saw it last year. He's had better command, I think, this year. Not nearly as many walks this year as opposed to how he fared a year ago. But still, that fastball, catchers will tell you the same thing, too.
You know, you look at certain numbers here. He's hit the most guys, and also he's thrown the most wild pitches. So he's effectively wild. And I just think Maxwell, new to the league, coming over from the National League.
And the 0-1 bouncing ball right side, scooped up by Dozier. DeDuno getting to first. The high throw, not in time. A run scores, and the Royals lead 1-0. Now Colabello had to vacate his spot at first base going after the ball. Dozier went to his left. He gloved it. And from shallow right field, a high throw. DeDuno got to the bag. Had to leave his feet, caught it, and never came down in time. Escobar beat it. He's at first. Butler scores. Maxwell at third. 1-0 Royals.
Corey, and again with the warnings now, DeDuno has to be a little aware of, boy, I can't pitch inside anymore. But I don't think he's a guy that, he just kind of, watch Domit. He sets up the middle of the plate and kind of just lets that ball do its work.
There's a base hit RBI for Escobar. 1-0 Kansas City. 1 out for Chris GETZ. And he bunts in the air behind the plate. That ball off the screen. 0-1. We saw the Royals do this often in the ball game on Tuesday night. This is a team that has been struggling really all season long, outside of when they play the Twins, to score runs. Many guys can bunt up and down this lineup. Executed a successful squeeze on Tuesday. Runner at first goes. The 0-1 swing and a miss. It's a foul ball. It's a foul ball. Porter put both arms up in the air, indicating that GETZ made contact. So it's a foul ball, and Escobar is going to go back to first base. He had a good jump. No throw from Domit, and now Porter has his arm out, instructing Escobar to go back to first, as GETZ did make contact. 0-2. Double play ends the inning. GETZ has bounced into 9 double plays this year. Maxwell at third, Escobar at first. 1-0 Royals. And the 0-2 bouncing ball. He pulled it foul on the first base side. GETZ today appearing in just his 67th game. Part of that revolving door at second base this year. He was injured earlier this month. Also spent some time in the minor leagues because of performance. Miguel Tejada done for the year, suspended. As DeDuno checks in, Escobar dives back in safely. Johnny Giavitello was up earlier this year, but he struggled. He's in the minor leagues. Last month, the Royals added 2 utility players, Bonifacio at third base today, and also Jamie Carroll, who is not in the Royals lineup today. And the 0-2 bouncing ball wide of third and through. Base hit left field. Maxwell scores. 2-0 Kansas City. That was a nice piece of hitting there from Getz. It was a fastball up and out of the zone, but he just took advantage of a gaping hole between Florimon and Plouffe on the left side of the infield.
Boy, you talked earlier in the ballgame about Guardian positioning Trevor Plouffe at third base. With 2 strikes on you, usually you'll back up a little bit and kind of go ahead and take that. Now, really not a bunt situation. And Trevor still stayed in, even with the bag at third base, opened up a little more room to the left side of the diamond. But again, you look at the 0-2 pitch there, it was a fastball up and away, and he just kind of filleted it the other way.
18th RBI for Getz, and Rick Anderson going out to talk with his starter. It's a long inning. 2 are in, 2 on, still just 1 out on a very hot and humid day. And Anderson going out. The trip to the mound was presented by Quick Trip. No fee ATM from Quick Trip, because you shouldn't have to pay for your own money. RBIs from Escobar and Getz, and now Gerard Dyson. He's hit safely in his last 4 games. He bats in the number 9 spot. And the pitch is over but low, ball 1. Dyson's had a good series, 3 for 8. The RBI he had was on the squeeze play on Tuesday. That's left-handed. Duno from the stretch, and now the 1-0 is outside, ball 2. Dyson seeing regular time in center. Lorenzo Cain is on the disabled list with an oblique injury. And now the 2-0. Changeup, strike call, good pitch. Fastball count, took something off, 2-1. Royals in a long stretch of consecutive games, 44 games in 44 days. Runners go, the 2-1 in the dirt, no throw either base. It's a double steal as Escobar takes third. Down to second goes Getz, and here come the Royals doing it again. They have stolen more bases than any team in all of baseball, now up to 120 as a ball club. Escobar 16 out of 16, and Getz now 13 out of 15. And Plouffe paying up at third, and Dyson stares at a strike call. The fastball at 91. 3-2. So second and third, 1 out in the second, 2-0 Kansas City. Duno off the first base side. Dyson bats, and the payoff, a swing, the bouncing ball right side. Diving stop by Dozier. Looks all around, goes to third, and Escobar is out. Nice play by Dozier. A diving stop to his right. Did not panic. Looked around the infield. Saw Escobar drifting off the bag at third, and Dozier fired a strike to Plouffe, applied the tag, and Escobar is out, number 2. Dyson with a fielder's choice. The put out goes 4-5 on Escobar. Holding at second, Getz. Nice patience there, Danny, displayed by Dozier on that ground ball to his right.
I thought he had the guy out at second base also, but Foreman wasn't there, so he looked at third base, came up and made a nice throw to third base.
2 down for Gordon. Changeup is at the belt for a strike called, 0-1.
Not sure what Escobar was doing on that play. He was off on contact and elected to stop. I think if he continues to the plate, Dozier's only play, then would probably be at first base.
So first and second, 2 down. Royals by 2 in the second. And the 0-1 drops low and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Gordon struck out his first at bat. 4 for 11 in this series. His homer knocked in 4. Key spot right now. Tough out. 2 in, 2 on, 2 out. Long way to go. Duno steps off and spins back. No throw made to second. Just kind of staring Getz back towards the second base bag. Duno's pitch count already pretty high. This will be number 46, only in the second. And the 1-1. Swing and a miss off speed. At 84, diving down and in. And the count moves to 1-2. This is one of those days you want to avoid that long inning, even more so. Hot and heat and humidity today at the ballpark. And the 1-2 in the dirt, skillfully knocked down by Domet. A breaking ball blocked by Domet, and with that, the runners do not advance. Gordon 3 for 13 lifetime against Duno. 2 on, 2 out, 2-2 the count. And here it comes. Line to left, a base hit. Gets around third. He's going to try to score, and he will without a throw. It's an RBI single for Gordon. 3-0 Kansas City. '71st RBI for the two-time Gold Glove winning left fielder. First-time All-Star. Gordon knocks in GETZ. It's a 3-run second. Dyson advances 90 feet to second base, and now it's Bonifacio batting. The 8th Royal to bat here in the second. Keep an eye on the base runners here. These guys will move. Big lead at first for Gordon, and the pitch is high, ball 1. You can just hear Terry Steinbach from the Twins dugout kind of let Domet and also Duno know to utilize your slide step right now. Dyson 26 stolen bases. He's at second. Gordon has 9. He's at first. Duno steps off and again stares Dyson back to second. No throw made. It's a lot of action here in the second. Warnings issued. Gardy ejected. Kansas City has scored 3. And 3 hits. And the 1-0 is off speed high, ball 2. That was pitch number 50. Thrown by the Twins starter today. We're only in the second. Behind Bonifacio 2-0. He lined out to left field his first time up. Gordon at first, Dyson off second. Dyson runs the pitch outside, throw to third, will not be in time. Gordon did not try to steal. He remains at first base, but the Royals steal their third base of the inning. As Dyson swipes number 27, he is now 90 feet away from scoring. The pitch was outside, 3-0 count now on Bonifacio. What do you make of Dyson going there and not the trail runner Gordon?
Well, I just think Gordon didn't have that big a lead initially.
3-0 on Bonifacio. Runners at the corners, and the pitch is over for a strike call, 3-1. Is there a set rule if you're going to execute a double steal, 1 go, all go? Or?
No, I just think it's up to the lead runner at second base, that guy at first base. You know, Gordon runs fairly well, but he has just 9 stolen bases on the year. But a little cautious out there just watching his standard lead right now.
Dances off the bag at first. Dyson off third. The 3-1 is wrapped foul above the screen off the facing of the second deck, 3-2.
You know, and sometimes teams will kind of go ahead and throw to second base and try to get that trail runner stealing in that situation, because Dyson, you know, third base, when you steal third base, you almost have to be 90% sure you're going to make that. And he stole that very easily. That was a good pitch for Domet to handle, but just too much time for Domet to get the ball to the plate.
3-2 the count, and the pitch, swing and a miss. He got it, and the inning is finally over. The Royals bat 8. They scored 3 times on 3 hits. They lead 2. Inning and a half complete. Our new score reads Royals 3, Twins nothing. On your home for Twins baseball. Twins fans, later on today, be sure to tune in for the 7th inning scratch, sponsored by the Minnesota State Lottery. And you can call in and win great prizes all season long. There's a long 2nd inning. Duno threw many pitches. The Royals scored 3 times on 3 hits. Let's see if the Twins can make Chen work and sweat a bit here in the home 2nd. It'll be Willingham, Doman, and Plouffe due up. Willingham 1 for 8 so far in this series. His average at .212. He's homered 12 times and knocked in 45. And Chen from the windup, and the pitch is in for a strike called 0-1. Chen lifetime against the Twins has a 3-6 record. The Twins have had success against him here at Target Field. And the 0-1. Line to third and caught on the backhanded side by Bonifacio. Had to reach around his right hip to make that play. Willingham lines out. First out here in the 2nd. 3-0 Royals. Bases empty. Here's Ryan Doman. If you look at some numbers, Chen lifetime here at Target Field, he's made 5 previous starts. The Twins have beaten this guy 3 times. He's won only once. His ERA lifetime at Target Field is approaching 7. 1 down for Doman. And Chen deals a changeup for a strike called 0-1. Doman 0 for his last 5. His average at .243, 11 homers and 49 knocked in. He bats right-handed for now. And the 0-1 is inside and low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Plouffe on deck. And the 1-1. Slow curve. Strike 2. 73 miles an hour. Looking up some numbers on Chen before the game. Again, Fangraphs.com. His fastball is going to average 85. Slider 82. And the 1-2. Doman pops one up shallow right field. Maxwell coming in near the right field line. Looks up at the partly cloudy skies and puts it away for round number 2. Curveball around 73, a changeup around 76 miles an hour. And he's effective. Chen will be a free agent at season's end. That time he has won 76 games. 2 down for Plouffe, and he swings and wraps one foul behind the plate. 0-1. From Panama City, Panama. And 76 wins, second only to Mariano Rivera's 80. And the 0-1. Fastball missed outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Chen from the windup. KOTTARAS sets up in. And the 1-1 is in line to left down the line. That ball falling fair. In the corner, Gordon picks it up. Plouffe trying for 2. The throw to second will not be in time. It's a standing 2-out double for Trevor Plouffe here in the home 2nd. And the Royals on top 3-0. Plouffe now 6 for 21 lifetime against Chen. Does have 3 home runs. There's Chris Colabello. 0 for his last 16. His average at 192. This is Colabello's first ever at bat. That's the veteran Chen. Mariano Rivera, like Chen, also from Panama. Rivera has won more games than any other Panamanian. Chen 2nd at 76. There's a strike call. Knees on Colabello. 0-1. He can reach. Wilkin Ramirez would bat next. Royals 3, Twins nothing here in the 2nd. Not a meeting this season between these 2 ball clubs. Plouffe off 2nd, 2 down. And the 0-1, a swing and a pop-up. Foul out of play behind the first base dugout. Now it's 0-2 on Colabello. Twins will see the Rangers next. Texas is off today. Twins will see Yu Darvish in the opening game of that series tomorrow night. Matt Garza on Saturday. The high leg kick and the 0-2 inside. Shot the corner, missed, and Chen thought that was strike 3. Came off the mound. Alan Porter said it just missed inside, ball 1. Liam Hendricks will go opposite Darvish in Game 1 tomorrow night. Pelfrey Garza Saturday. And Kevin Correa and Travis Blackley, Australian left-hander, for the Rangers in the finale on Sunday. 3-0 Kansas City. Plouffe at second, 2 down. And the 1-2 inside, staggering Colabello across the plate, even up now 2-2. Twins have 17 home games coming up in the month of September. In fact, only one road trip the entire month of September. Wrapping up this brief 3-game homestand right now. And the 2-2 up and away, ball 3. 70 miles an hour, so full count on Colabello. And Ramirez hoping for a chance. He is on deck. Three balls, 2 strikes, 2 down in the second, and the payoff, swing and a miss, and Colabello strikes out at 81 miles an hour to end the inning. Twins don't score, they leave 1 through 2. Royals 3, Twins nothing. On your home for Twins baseball. This portion of Twins baseball is brought to you by your select Heartland Chevy dealers. See your local Chevy dealer or log on to ChevyDealOnline.com today. Through 2, Royals 3, Twins nothing. The third is on, and so is Danny Glenn.
Well, thank you, Corey. Good afternoon, everybody. It'll be the first baseman for the Royals, Eric Hosmer, to lead off. First pitch pulls it foul weakly down the first base line. Hosmer went down swinging. DeDuno had a crisp 1-2-3 inning. 8 men, though, batted in the second. There's a line drive. Look out. Right back at DeDuno into center field. Boy, there's a big mark out on the pitcher's mound right now where that ball hit and kicked out into center field. So a leadoff hit for Hosmer. He snapped an 0 for 13 with a base hit in the ballgame last night. So a leadoff single. Here's Billy Butler to bat. Butler got that inning started top of the second with a 4-pitch walk. And then things really kind of unraveled for everybody, and Justin Maxwell was hit by a pitch. Outside, called a strike by Porter. Hosmer will run a little bit. He has 10 stolen bases on the year. I knew it coming into this series. These guys steal the bases. And they've been running in this series. Slider in the dirt, nice backhand stop by Dome at 1 ball 1 strike. After Maxwell was hit, he threw his bat down. You see that a lot on those little league playgrounds as that kid slams his bat, stares out at the pitcher. I liked what Doma did, and he kind of got in his face and told him to get to first base. Walked him halfway up there. Checking a runner at first, and a pitch tap foul down the third base line. 1 ball, 2 strikes. No, that's always been the catcher's job, I guess, if there's an altercation or a stare down with the pitcher catcher or the pitcher hitter. The catcher's job is to prevent that hitter from getting to the mound. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Tapper foul again at home plate by Butler. He stays alive, 1-2. You look back at this year when Greinke hit, is it
Carlos
Quentin of the San Diego Padres, and he kind of blew everybody to sleep. He took a few steps to first base, so the catcher kind of held back, and then all of a sudden it was a sprint to the mound. Quick throw to first, dive back by Hosmer. He gets back safely. But that's part of the catcher's job, is to be able to sense that, be able to get out in between that pitcher and that hitter. And Doma did a great job. It would have been a good matchup. That would have been a light heavyweights. A little slow roller down third baseline, and Plouffe's going to field it, comes up throwing in time to get Butler this time. Runner, though, advances to second base. That's that slow roller that Gardy was talking about. Butler had 2 hits like that in the ball game last night. That one was hit a little bit harder. So with 1 out, was Gardy serious that he thinks he could beat Butler in a race?
Right now, he said, not going back to Gardy's playing days in the 80s, but right now, Gardy thinks he can beat Billy Butler in a race.
You know what? Right now, he's probably on the treadmill right now thinking, I think I made the wrong call on that. Gardy has been ejected from this ball game as home plate umpire Alan Porter, after Maxwell, who bats right now, was warned. And there's a running fastball inside from DeDuno, and Maxwell looks out at DeDuno, and nothing done by Alan Porter, home plate umpire. You know, if you think somebody's throwing at you, he's 60 feet 6 inches away. And to me, that was the purpose pitch. Runner at second base, 1 out. And DeDuno right back, swung on a miss, gets away from Domit. And Hosmer's not going to advance to third base. Now you run one in, slider away, and Maxwell, boy, couldn't hit that ball if he had a paddle. KC up early, 3-0. We're in the top of the 3rd inning. Royals sent 8 men to the plate in the top of the 2nd inning. 3 runs on 3 hits, hit batter, and there was a walk. And this one's high at the head, but it was a breaking ball, and Maxwell just kind of ducked. Clearly, DeDuno is in the head of Justin Maxwell right now. Behind 2-1, and a pitch swung and missed. You know, the crowd really is in this at bat as well. And if Maxwell would strike out, I'm sure this crowd would come to their feet. Maxwell's done fairly well since he's come over to the Kansas City Royals. He's 4 home runs. He's driven in 11. There is activity or a body standing up out in the Twins bullpen. Ryan Presley, and DeDuno's 2-2. Breaking ball inside. And that was a hard breaking ball at 83. We saw a little bit last night with Albers pitching. He pitched inside, and a curveball lifted in the air, foul right side as Colabello near the railing, and he runs out of room. Albers in the ballgame last night He buzzed Salvador Perez. And they had some words. And that was after Perez took him deep. 2-run homer, and that kind of lit a fire for Perez. There's a ground ball, third base, backhand, but it's foul by Trevor Plouffe. Salvador Perez went on to have 4 hits in the ball game, drove in 4, a couple of home runs. And a day off here today. One out, 3 balls and 2 strikes. 1 out, and the runner's at second base in Hosmer. Duno checks the runner. Here's the pitch. Swung and missed and got him. A little stare down by Duno and Maxwell, and the crowd again. They're on their feet. 4th strikeout for Duno, and it was a breaking ball. Here's George KOTTARAS. Grounded out to the first baseman, his only at bat. KOTTARAS doesn't get much playing time. Runner still at second. Off speed, good pitch there on the outside corner for a strike. KOTTARAS just his 39th game, has a batting average of 179, 5 home runs, 12 driven in. This guy keeps himself in pretty good shape. This ball's lifted high in the air, center field. Thomas drifting back, still drifting back in front of the warning track, and puts it away. That ball seemed to carry. Kansas City gets 1 hit, they leave 1, 2.5 complete. 3-0 KC on your home. Twins baseball. Hey, August Shell brings us what's brewing in Twins territory. It's the UFTA Days. It's happening this weekend in Nevis, featuring a lutefisk, Swedish meatball, and a lefse dinner, and a short play on the continuing saga of Ole and Lena. Grain Belt Premium. It's the American and American Lager. Grab a cold grain belt at the ballpark today. August Shell Brewery, New Ulm, Minnesota.
What are the 2 names there? Ole and
Lena.
Okay.
You've heard that story, haven't
Sure.
you? Okay. I know you're from Chicago.
Sure. Who hasn't?
You haven't. Here's Ramirez. His first at bat. And it's in there for a strike. It's an ID break when time permits. And Bruce Chin right back. Off speed in there for a strike. That one at 74. That's that old Sandlot curveball right there. They head 0-2. And a fastball up and away. That's his best stuff right there at 85. Gardy has been ejected, most likely getting a head start on everybody else before the Twins depart for Texas. There's a line drive, right center field, get down. Maxwell won't get there, and it's going to be a leadoff single for the Twins. And now the batter's going to be Clete Thomas. Will step out 10 seconds. Allow our stations to identify themselves. You're listening to Twins Baseball. Good piece of hitting right there by Wilkin Ramirez. There's the approach, I think, if you're a right-handed hitter against a guy like Bruce Chin. I had mentioned maybe move back in the batter's box on the soft-throwing left-handers, and what you do is you move that catcher back. As Thomas shows, bunt pulls it back, and it's outside and low. By getting to the back of the batter's box, you move that catcher back, and they also move that umpire back, and we're only talking maybe 3 or 4 inches. But still, you're moving it back, and then you're forcing that pitcher to have to get that ball up over the plate. Outside and low, falling behind, 2 balls and no strikes. And that's Bruce Chin. That's what he does. He will pitch to the corners, pitch down in the zone, show you a fastball either up and away, or kind of show it to you in on the belt. But he's just soft and softer. This one's lifted foul over the dugout of the Royals. And Thomas bats with a count of 2 balls and 1 strike.
Would a guy like Shen, would he frustrate you more as a hitter than a guy that would beat you maybe with 95, 96, 97 miles an hour?
Yes, he would. I think he's the type of guy that every time you go to the back to the bat rack and you put your stuff away, you're thinking, he didn't get me out. I got myself out. And maybe chasing one of his pitches. But there's other things you can do in the batter's box, because he throws 85, 86. So if you get it in the arm or the back or the leg, you're not going to get hurt. This is foul. Joe Vavra boots that one at third base. And now 2 balls and 2 strikes to Clete Thomas. Nobody out, runner at first. Get on top of the plate, and by getting on top of the plate, the catcher sees that, and therefore they're going to maybe start pitching you inside. And again, you turn into one, you get first base. Maybe he makes a mistake by trying to pitch inside, but also by getting on top of the plate, there no longer is that outside pitch. And his pitch outside and away. And Chin is one of those guys, he'll go deep in the count. A lot of 3-ball, 2-strike counts. Also a guy I think that you can bunt on. He doesn't move all that well off the mound. Ramirez at first, and Chin throws over. Twins down 3-0. They have 2 hits on the board. Terry Steinbach is managing since the ejection of Ron Gardenhire. End of 3-2. Ground ball could be 2. Gets to Escobar, back to first in time for the double play. Not a real good throw by Escobar coming across the bag at second base, but Hosmer, that big target. He's got a nice long stretch. Comfortable feeling if you're an infielder. You know you got that big lanky first baseman over there to help you out. This is a 4-6-3 double play. So the base is empty, and Brian Dozier bats. Dozier 0 for 1, popped up to the shortstop, was 0 for 4 in a ball game last night. Made a note of all 4 fly ball outs to Dozier last night. 3 fly balls to the center fielder, 1 fly ball to the right fielder. And there's a line drive, get down, it gets out, can't come up with it. So a 2-out base hit. And now Dozier at first base. Dozier runs a little bit. He has 10 stolen bases on the year. And the batter's going to be Pedro Florimon. Florimon flew out to center field, his only at bat, hitting in that number 2 slot in the order. The second time that Florimon has been in that 2 slot. Pedro's had a couple of hits from the right side as of late. A couple of hits in the ball game last night. There's a strike call on the inside corner. That one at 84. Talk about Chin and his delivery to the plate. Also, he'll vary his move to first base. And a little too hopper to Vavra. He lets this one get under his hands. So Florimon bats with a count of 0 balls, 2 strikes with 2 down. Big hole on the right side. See if Florimon can shoot something over there. Runner not going, and the pitch outside. Chin's last 2 starts, he's fallen in the loss column. And fouled back. Good cut by Florimon right on that fastball. Took a loss against Washington at home, and then before that got beat up by the Detroit Tigers last start against Washington. Shortest outing of the season. Went 3 2/3 of an inning, gave up 7 runs, all earned on 6 hits. And in that ball game, he walked 5. And a pitch, ground ball pulled foul again. Chin just 1 strikeout. He has not walked anybody yet. Here's Chin last year for Kansas City. Tied for the league in starts. He had 34 starts. Fly ball right field. Maxwell drifting back and routines it, puts it away. The Twins get 1 hit, leave 1. Get 2 hits and leave 1. 3 complete, 3-0. Kansas City on your home for Twins baseball. Well, Samuel Deduno is done for this afternoon. Samuel goes 3 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs. Sure, the pitch count, it was up there. 71 pitches for Deduno in just 3 innings. 1 walk, had 4 strikeouts, and he also hit a batter. So Presley will face Alcides Escobar. And the first pitch called a strike by home plate umpire Alan Porter. Escobar has a base hit, RBI. Had 2 hits. Well, he's 3 for 8 in this series. There's a ground ball fielded by Presley. Waits for Colabello to get to the bag and then flips it over to retire Escobar. So retired Escobar for the first time here this afternoon. And here's Chris Getz to bat. He had an RBI single on an 0-2 pitch. Just his 18th RBI in the year. Getz has been kind of one of the many guys shuffling through for the Royals at second base this year. A chance to meet him today. And a pitch from Presley down and in, ball one. You talk about a baby face. Boy, he looks like he's 12 years old. And a 1-0 right back, same location. And now 2 balls and no strikes.
Do you get that a lot? Do people say, Dan, you got a baby face?
Nope.
No.
Maybe when I was a baby. Because if they did say it, then I'd call them a liar.
Back when you were the Cupertino kid.
Well, I took a lot of heat from that. 3-0 on the way, and it's taken for a strike. 3 balls and 1 strike. Now, these aren't names that I put on myself. A lot of the veteran guys will nickname a young player. And there's a 3-1 pitch, and it's a 1-out walk. So Getz reaches first. Threat to steal. I came over here to the Twins, and Herbeck dropped the wrench on me. Well, here's Dyson to bat. 4-game hitting streak for Dyson. Had the infield in, but the bases loaded. I'm sorry, second and third, and there was a ground ball with the infield in. Dozier made a nice stop on it. Got the out at third base as base runner Escobar started for the plate, stopped, and tried to retreat back to third. And Dozier had to dive to his right, came up and threw to Trevor Plouffe. Nice tag by Trevor. No balls, 1 strike, 1 out. Dyson, tough guy to double up. And fouled off left side. He's in the hole, no balls and 2 strikes. Boy, Trevor Plouffe, I'm watching him at third base, and kind of a work in progress here, and that Trevor's been kind of a little exposed, but what they've done, he was playing a good 10 to 15 feet in from third base, and now he's going to back up. He's a couple feet behind the bag. Allows him to cover some more range. 0-2 runner not going, and lifted foul. And Brandon Moss really on target last night. Oakland's right fielder hit 2 more home runs against the Tigers in a 14-4 rout. 3 home runs in 2 ball games. Moss has positioned his A's for a 4-game sweep of the first place Detroit Tigers. Who's on target? It's brought to you by Target. Expect more and pay less. And again, the Oakland Athletics up early. Ground ball to Presley. He'll field it. Goes to Florimon, back to first in time for the double play. Nicely turned. It's another innovative office solution. Double play. Nobody left. 3.5 complete. Royals up early. 3-0 on your home for Twins baseball. Well, now's the time to get your 2014 All-Star Game gear featuring the awesome-looking official logo of this apparel. It's available exclusively Twins Pro Shops and the Twins Majestic Clubhouse store here at Target Field. Get your All-Star gear today. Leading out for the Twins DH, Justin Morneau. Morneau with a home run of the ballgame last night. That snapped an 0 for 20. Grounded out his first time up. As Chin rocks and delivers up on a web ball 1. Chin at 42 pitches. Morneau against Bruce Chin lifetime 5 for 22. And there's a pitch down and in. Twins need some base runners. Chin walked 5 his last time out. Has not walked a batter so far here this afternoon. 2-0's taken on the corner for a strike. That one at 85. And the left-hander delivers outside and low, 3-1. Lefty leans in, high leg kick, delivers, swung on and missed. Not sure if that's a slider or just a cut fastball, but that one at 82 miles an hour had a little movement down and away. And right back, payoff pitch, ground ball, second base. GETZ fields it, retires Morneau. Leadoff hitter retired. Here's Josh Willingham to bat. It was reported that Willingham put on the waiver wire and was claimed, and now they're reporting that the team that claimed him was the Baltimore Orioles. And Chin delivers outside, low ball 1. And Terry has said he's not going to comment on who the team is or anything regarding the team claiming some of his players. But it was reported in Baltimore that he was claimed by the Orioles, and I guess they have until Friday, I believe around 3 o'clock Friday time, to trade Willingham. Well, Terry going to pull him back off. Pitch inside, taken. And Baltimore trying to hang in there. They kind of playing 500 baseball their last 10 games. Pitch way high. And now 3 balls and 1 strike to Willingham. Well, the Yankees are just 1 game back of Baltimore. Pretty trailing the Boston Red Sox. 3-1 lifted foul right side. And they're having a big series right now, Baltimore and Boston. Chance to gain some ground. Boston not playing well. 3-2 pitch up and away, and there's first walk issued by Bruce Chin. Here's Ryan Doumit to bat. Doumit 0 for 1 with a fly out. Trevor Plouffe due up next. Chin slow breaking ball that stays outside, ball 1. That one at 72. Ryan 0 for 7 against Bruce Chin. Lefty right back down in the dirt. KOTTARAS, nice block. And KOTTARAS is going to call timeout. He's going to go out and talk to his pitcher. Doumit's last home run 16 at bats ago, and that was against Justin Verlander. He had a big 3-run homer in that ball game against Verlander. take a 2-run homer right now. Behind 2-0. Taken all the way for a strike. Willingham at first, 1 out. Fly ball left field, hit fairly well. Gordon back, still back. He'll play it off the wall. Willingham into third base, throw to second, and they're going to have Domet tagged out at second base. Well, Gordon out in left field, Gold Glover. He played that ball well, got a good break on it, realized I'm not going to catch it. He stopped and played the one hop off the wall and threw an on-target throw to Getz at second base. And Getz just turned around and was waiting for Ryan Domet and tagged him out.
Major League leading 12 assists for Gordon this season. He played that carom dandy perfectly. Did not get too close to the wall. Waited for the bounce and had Domet out by several feet.
That's how you play it right there. And Trevor takes it high and away, ball 1. Trevor had a double his first time up. Twins 4 hits now on the board. Boy, you need some 2-out hitting right now, trying to get some momentum going against Bruce Chin. Slow curve taken by Trevor. Now 2 balls and no strikes. Got Colabello in the on-deck circle. Willingham at third base. 2 balls, no strikes. Something to hit here. And off speed. Came right back with that 75-mile-an-hour slow curveball. With Chin, sometimes you don't sit on that fastball in the hitter's count. You go ahead and sit on something soft, and if you get it, maybe do something with it. (3-0) KC, bottom of the 4th. And right back, same location, same pitch at 75, and now 2 balls, 2 strikes. Reminds me a little bit about my good buddy Rob Deere. He used to always sit on the fastball, and I'd say, the guy doesn't have a fastball. And a 2-2 swung on and missed, foul tipped into the glove, and Trevor goes down swinging. Just the second strikeout for Chin this afternoon. 1 hit, 1 runner left, 4 complete. Still 3-0 KC. Chris Atterbury with a scoreboard update on your
losing right now. A long way to go in Detroit. Here the Royals have a 3-0 lead. Ryan Presley back out to begin the 5th, and he misses outside on Gordon, ball 1. Gordon 1 for 2 today. RBI single in the 2nd, now 71. Runs batted in this season. And the pitch is down low. 2 balls and no strikes. Twins have not seen the A's at all this season. Oakland will be here on the next homestand, a nice long homestand. Beginning next Friday. And the 2-0 is outside, ball 3. Also, the Twins, for the most part, outside of that game against the Mets last week, the Twins have played a bulk of their schedule this month within the division. The leg kick and the 3-0, and Gordon takes a knee-high strike call, 3-1. A slight reprieve from the Central Division. Next couple of weeks. 3 balls and a strike on Gordon. And here it comes. A swing and a pop-up foul out of play. That'll be a souvenir. Second deck. And now it's 3-2. Rangers for 3. Then in Houston for 3. In that long homestand, the Blue Jays. Makeup game with the Angels. Oakland. Tampa Bay. Before the Twins, we'll see the White Sox in Chicago beginning September 16th. The 3-2 line to first, caught by Colabello. Brought the glove up near his left shoulder, taking a base hit away from Gordon. And it's 1 out. 5th inning, Royals lead by 3. Bases empty. And the batter is Emilio Bonifacio. Just a reminder, Twins fans, speaking of the upcoming schedule, here's a steal of a deal on tickets for a game coming up on Monday, September 23rd. Against the first place Detroit Tigers. For that ball game, Skyline View seats are only $6. 1 down, Bonifacio bats. He shows bunt, took a swinging bunt attempt, and he missed it 0-1. We saw Bonifacio do that on Tuesday night. Very Alexei Casilla-esque. He shows bunt, but takes a swing at it as well. The bat squared up. He missed it 0-1 the count. Plouffe up off the line at third, both cleats on the grass. And the 0-1, a swing and a bouncing ball to short to his right, Flournoy. He backhand sets, long throw, and a nice stretch by Colabello on the backhand to retire Bonifacio for out number 2. You have to be perfect with that play, as Bonifacio can run. The ball got by Plouffe, but Flournoy showcasing that glove and arm strength. Colabello, a long stretch off the bag at first. So 2 up, 2 down. Royals by 3. Bases empty in the 5th. And here's Eric Hosmer. So again, that ball game against the Tigers on Monday, September 23rd. Skyline View seats are only $6. Call 833-TWINS or visit twinsbaseball.com to lock up your ticket right now. Presley misses low, ball 1 and Hosmer. 1 for 2 in the ball game. And a nice second half. And the 1-0, swing at a chopper wide at first. Colabello has it. Gloves near his ankle. Feeds Presley at the base. Inning over. 1, 2, 3, 5th. Halfway home at Target Field. Twins need some offense. Royals 3, Twins nothing. On your home for Twins baseball. Here's who's getting ready down at the farm, brought to you by KCA. Yesterday, James Beresford, a 3-hit day for the Red Wings, a 5-1 win over Buffalo. Beresford knocked in his 17th run of the season with an RBI double. KCA be ready with the proven leader. Rochester very much alive. Playoff race, 5 games to go, just 1/2 game back. The wild card race, 2.5 behind. In the division race, 5 games to go for Rochester. Colabello leads off the home 5th. A breaking ball is in for a strike call from Bruce Chen, 0-1. Colabello struck out in the 2nd, now 0 for his last 17. Shen at 63 pitches from the windup. KOTTARAS sets up in, and the 0-1 is in. And knocked foul behind the plate, 0-2. Just a couple of days away from teams being allowed to expand their rosters. You can go as high as 40 beginning September 1. And the one wrinkle with the Twins and their plans for the next few days is how many do you take away from what might be a playoff-bound Rochester team? And the 0-2 is off speed, missing outside, ball 1. Ramirez on deck. Cleat Thomas due up 3rd this inning. And the 1-2 line to 3rd, but he pulled it foul. And do it again, 1-2.
Well, Corey, I think there is a premium on winning that AAA championship, or at least getting into the playoffs and making a little bit of run there. So you don't want to gut that ball club. They've been there and battling a little bit. Gene Glenn trying to get that team into the playoffs.
Again, the 1-2 is high. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And how about this guy? Here's one of the main cogs in Colabello. Had a fantastic season down there.
National League MVP, was also tabbed as the Rookie of the Year. That's here in the 5th, and the 2-2, a swing and a foul off the screen behind the plate. Royals got all 3 of their runs in the 2nd. Kansas City batted 8. RBIs from Escobar and GETZ and Gordon. Gardy was ejected in the 2nd. Home plate umpire Alan Porter. And the 2-2 inside, ball 3. Took a slider inside to run it full now, 3-2. And Terry Ryan is going to travel with the Twins to Texas. Terry last week, when the Twins were in Detroit and Cleveland, he was at AAA. He was watching Rochester. And the 3-2 swing and a miss. Colabello strikes out a fastball. There's the 3rd strikeout for Chen. And Colabello, fans for the 2nd time today, 1 down in the 5th. This is empty for Wilkin Ramirez. Well, Scott Diamond is a guy I think we should all keep an eye on. He's been throwing the ball very well down at Rochester this year. Base is empty, 1 away. There's a strike called on Ramirez. I think the Twins could use another utility player on the infield. But Eduardo Escobar fit that need. And the 0-1 is rolled foul. Got Ramirez's foot, and he is down. He is lying now face first just outside the batter's box on the right side. Now is up on his knees. Ramirez in obvious pain. Here comes Tony Leo and the Twins' outstanding training staff to check on Wilkin. He is in severe discomfort right now. And he's kind of rubbing his left shin. I think that's exactly where that foul ball hit him. Got him right on top of the front left shin, and unlike so many batters who wear that protective shield that covers the ankle and the lower part of the shin, Ramirez does not. And he is wincing in obvious discomfort right now. The Twins only have a 2-man bench. Oswaldo Arcia not available in any capacity. He's out with that sore wrist, not on the DL, just day-to-day, but not even swinging the bat right now. That leaves the Twins bench with just 2 available options should Ramirez not be able to continue, and Chris Herman and Doug Bernier.
He hasn't even got up yet to put any weight on that. He's going to get some help from Scotty Olger. Just now being helped up and still has not put any weight on that left foot.
Scotty Olger helping him on the right side. Tony Leo supporting the left hand, the left arm. Ramirez, though, he is bent over at a 90-degree angle. And he's going to be helped off the field. Arms draped around Olger and Leo, and he has yet to put much weight on that left leg. So Ramirez will be done for the day as soon as we get word from the Twins clubhouse. No doubt x-rays will be taken. It's been an injury-plagued season for Ramirez. Joe Mauer on the concussion disabled list. Ramirez spent months on that same disabled list after colliding with Josh Willingham in the outfield back in Detroit in late May. So Ramirez done for the day. It's an 0-2 count. 1 out, bases empty here in the 5th inning. And the Royals have a 3-0 lead. And Chris Herman indeed putting a helmet on, and he will take the spot of Ramirez, inherit the count. Speaking of Joe Mauer, Danny, he spoke to reporters for the first time earlier today, and he mentioned it's a slow process coming back from the concussion he suffered here at Target Field. Well, that 1-game makeup against the Mets after taking the foul ball off his mask and his helmet.
Well, it was nice that he had kind of addressed the media, because I think there was a little bit of concern there that they wanted to kind of hear. We had been hearing from Gardy, Terry Ryan, but he did come out today and address the media. But with these concussions, you just don't know. They affect people differently. And I think the recovery is different. We saw that Plouffe had it earlier this year. Domet has had it. Wilkin Ramirez, who just left, had it. And Ramirez, his lingered for some time. So I just think that it's a process here that they already have somewhat of a blueprint as to what they're going to do for Mauer, similar to what they did to Domet, Plouffe, and Wilkin Ramirez. And just every day, something a little bit newer.
Chris Herman does indeed bat for Ramirez, and he takes a ball outside, ball 1.
A lot of it, though, you've got to listen to the player. You have to go based on what he says rather than what they think that he should be doing.
1-2 dips outside on the left-handed batting Herman. He's batting .222, 3 homers and 15 knocked in. I'm going to read you a quote that Joe had from his conference earlier today. The 2-2 is ball 3 outside. This was Mauer speaking. Quote, "What's scary about the concussion is that it's not like a turned ankle. You just can't simply tape up your head." He went on to say, "I wish I could." 3-2 on Herman. And the payoff is swinging a bouncing ball weakly first base line. Chen off the mound. He fields and will shovel to first in time. And Herman grounds out, 2 down. Bases empty. Royals by 3. Here's Clee Thomas. Mauer also mentioned he's still pretty sensitive to lights and a lot of noise.
Well, better hope those babies don't start crying.
No chance. Trust me.
You know
that right now.
Corey, with a head injury like that, and Joe's right on when you talk about, it's not like a twisted ankle or, a bruised elbow or something. You can see that injury. There's inflammation, there's swelling. You can see that there is an injury there, and you can see the progress by that. But with a head injury, it's something you can't see.
Strike called on Thomas, and the 0-1. Bouncing ball right side. To his left goes Getz. The second baseman fields and throws out Thomas to end the 5th inning. Through 5, Kansas City 3, Twins nothing. Danny's back to the call in the 6th in a moment on your home for Twins baseball.
Chris Herman stays in the ball game, and he's going to play right field. And he'll stay in the lineup batting 8th. Ryan Presley's 3rd inning of relief. He'll be facing Butler, Maxwell, and KOTTARAS. Butler officially 0 for 1, swings and fouls it right in the netting. Grounded out, reached last time up, walked, scored in that 3-run 2nd inning, and that's pretty much been it for the Kansas City Royals. They've only had 1 hit since then. They had 2 base runners, 1 a hit, 1 a walk. Jam shot. Colabello at first base, and he can take it himself, and he'll flip it to Presley covering first as Butler, a late arrival at first base. So Butler versus Gardenhire in a race. Did he say how far is that, like from home to first? Is that just 40-yard, or are we running foul pole to foul pole?
I think it was a 10K. So about 6.2 miles.
Well, I know you're kidding there.
No, I'm guessing it was just 90 feet.
Okay. Oh, he said somebody promote it.
It'll happen.
It'll happen. Here's Maxwell to bat. He's been in the middle of the lot at this ballpark this afternoon. Hit by a pitch. Bench is worn. Gardy ejected. Curveball down and in. And Presley falling behind 2 balls and no strikes. All that happening back in the 2nd inning. And Alan Porter ejected Gardy. And Porter ejected Ron Gardenhire last year. And a broken bat flare right side, and that'll sneak through. So Maxwell has his first hit here this afternoon. 1-out single, and here's KOTTARAS to bat. Yeah, last year, I think Jamie Carroll's only been ejected 1 time in his career, and it was by Alan Porter. And we had talked about, I think that was Gardy's argument, is you have to know Duduno. He's effectively wild, and he's not throwing at anybody. And I think that's what has changed with some of the umpires, in that the feel for the game that they have. Whereas I think more of a seasoned veteran umpire understands the flow of the game and what's going on. And I don't think that's the case with Porter. But he ejected Jamie Carroll. He's never been kicked out of a ball game ever last year. And then Gardy came out and argued, and he was ejected. And Porter, you look at some of the guys he has ejected over the years, and some guys that I'm not going to say do not get ejected, as KOTTARAS takes it low, and now Presley again falling behind 2 balls and no strikes. Jim Leland, he got Don Mattingly, and Mattingly's one of those kind of soft-spoken guys. And we kind of see him on the news a little bit, watching some highlights. He's in the middle of it. Big pitch here, 2-0, but he throws to first, and Maxwell gets back safely with a head first dive.
Can you recall around the time when umpires no longer were just league specific, when they started umpiring in both leagues? Because there was a time when umpires would stay consistent within 1 league.
Well, that's when they went on strike and they busted the umpires. Ground ball should be 2. Dozier for him on back to first in time for the double play. Second turn by the Twins here this afternoon. It's another innovative office solution double play. 1 hit, nobody left. 5.5 complete. Still 3-0 KC on your home for Twins baseball. Hey, Twins fans, Caribou Coffee wants to provide you with a little extra savings and a whole lot of fun this season. All you have to do is text Twins to 65017. You can sign up. It's Caribou Coffee. They are the official coffee of the Minnesota Twins. A third time against Bruce Chin. Let's see if the Twins get something rolling here. Dozier will lead off, followed by Pedro Florimon and Justin Morneau. Twins 4 hits on the afternoon. Dozier with one of those 4. Had a 2-out base hit in the third inning. Florimon ended up flying out to end it. Bruce Chin staked to a 3-0 lead. All those runs in the top of the second inning. They sent 8 men to the plate. 3 runs on 3 hits. Dozier shows bunt. Pulls it back and it drops in there for a strike. We're looking at the bench for Gardy. Very thin right now. Up and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Have not got an update on Wilkin Ramirez. Left this ball game. Fouled the ball off his left shin. And a 1-1 outside. 2-1. So as soon as we hear something on Ramirez, we'll pass it along. But Doug Bernier is the only player available for Terry Steinbach. And a pitch pulled foul down the left field line. Dozier 2 balls, 2 strikes, having a fantastic season. 13 home runs. He's driven in 55 on the year. Chin's 2-2 pitch in the dirt, blocked. Chin's 3-2 on the way. This one again pulled foul. Dozier last year, first big league experience, was in 84 ball games, and he hit 6 home runs, drove in 33. And that was mostly playing shortstop for Minnesota. And a pitch high in the air, left field, ball has a chance. Gordon back, track, wall, gone. Twins are on the board with a solo homer by Dozier, and now trail 3-1. Dozier's 14th of the year, and that ball upper deck home run. And Dozier, he's got 14 at bats between home runs. Last home run was at Cleveland. And that could be right there the start that the Twins needed. And here's Pedro Florimon to bat. And a slow curve taken for a strike. Chin now has given up 8 home runs so far this year. And right back. Fastball outside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And Danny, with 14 home runs, that's the most home runs the Twins have had from a second baseman since Tim Teufel back in '84.
And a bunt that's popped up foul on the third base line and will land foul.
Back in '84, Tim Teufel also with 14 home runs, and Dozier's matched him here in 2013. And that home run traveled 405 feet.
And this is just his second year, and Dozier's going to be around for a while. I'm trying to think of some of the second basemen in Lombardozzi. They had Tommy Herr here for just a short stay.
Knobloch had 13 in one of his final seasons before going to the Yankees.
Well, if you get some run production out of your second baseman like that, maybe you give it up somewhere else, maybe on the field. And a curveball outside, and now 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And for a long time, that wasn't really a power position, but guys like Ryan Sandberg and later Jeff Kent, they kind of changed that.
Fouled off. Good cut by Florimon. Stays alive, 2-2. You know, Jeff Kent, he was more or less a third baseman, and defensively couldn't cover much ground, but he wanted to be that guy. Didn't he beat Joe Morgan for most home runs by a second baseman? And They had asked him to change positions because he was just killing them up the middle in defense. He said no, he wanted to stay at second base. Chen had 90 pitches activity in the bullpen for the Royals. And this one's fouled off. 4-1 hanging tough. Chen has walked 3 strikeouts here this afternoon. Chen again started the season out of the bullpen. Just his 9th start, has 5 wins, 2 losses. He's 2-2 as a starter. Popped up shallow center field. Dyson camping underneath it, and he puts that away. There's the first out. And here's Morneau to bat. Morneau for 2 ground outs, both to the second baseman. Twins have a left-hander in the bullpen. It looks like it's Thielbar loosening up. And a ground ball pulled. Hosmer backs up, gets a good hop. Race to the base, and he beats Morneau. So MORNEAU out number 2, first pitch hacking. And with 2 down, bases empty, here's Josh Willingham to bat. And it looks like with Willingham, the right-hander, Ned Yost is signaling he's going to go to the right-hander in the bullpen. And this pitching change is brought to you by Summit Brewing. They're a refreshing, authentic Pilsner made with special barley grown by Summit's own farm team up in North Dakota. Learn more at summitbrewing.com. Summit, a more meaningful brew. Summitbrewing.com with Chris Atterbury with our scoreboard update. In 5 2/3, giving up 5 hits, 1 run. That was a solo homer off the bat of Brian Dozier. Had 1 walk and 3 strikeouts. So Herrera, hard throwing right-hander, and he can get wild. Herrera on the year 5-6, ERA at 3.53. In 51 innings, he has 64 strikeouts with 21 walks. Herrera was in a ball game in Tuesday night when 1 inning had 2 strikeouts. Came in, pitched the bottom of the 9th inning. Here in the bottom of the 6th inning with 2 down, here's Josh Willingham. A good matchup right here. You've got a good fastball hitter in Willingham, flamethrower in Herrera. See if he comes after him. And a first pitch clocked at 95 in there for a strike. Well, Bruce Chen, vintage Bruce Chen, another afternoon of what he does. Swung and a miss. Good cut by Willingham. He's dialed in now. He took the 95-mile-an-hour fastball. He wanted to turn the 99-mile-an-hour fastball around, just a little tardy. Right-hander leans in. And they're going to set up away. Right-hander delivers. There's a little soft liner to first base. Hosmer, and he fields it just on the shoe tops and retires Willingham. Twins get 1 run on 1 hit. Brian Dozier's 14th homer of the year. Completed 6. New score here, Target Field, 3-1. Kansas City on your home for Twins baseball. That's the Minnesota State Lottery 7th inning power stretch. Here's the number. It's 833 Twins. Need to hit 0 followed by the pound sign. If you are that 7th caller, you can win $50 in Powerball tickets. Don't forget, you must be 18 years of age to play Powerball. We'll step out 10 seconds. Allow our stations to identify themselves. You're listening to Twins Baseball. Ryan Presley, solid 3 innings, gave up just 1 hit, 1 walk, didn't strike anybody out. So got 2 double plays behind him. He'll give way to the left-hander Thielbar. And a first pitch hacking is Escobar and peels into the netting. Strike 1. Thielbar pitched in the opening game in that 6-1 Royals win. And he came on that 8th inning. With 2/3 of an inning, gave up 3 hits, 1 run. And there's a fastball on the inside corner for a strike. And Escobar in the hole, no balls, 2 strikes. Thielbar came in. I think it was Dyson had that bunt base hit. And then he gave up the double with the bases loaded to Gordon. Fouled back. Escobar stays alive, just got a piece of it. GETZ due up next, and then Dyson. GETZ, Dyson, 2 left-handed hitters. So Terry Steinbach managing this ball game here today. Gardy ejected back in the 2nd inning when the Kansas City Royals scored 3 runs. Since then, they just have 2 hits. Ground ball, weakly hit right side. Dozier over to Colabello to retire Escobar. With 1 out, here's Chris GETZ to bat. GETZ has a base hit, RBI. He walked back in the 4th. Plouffe in on the grass at third base. Getz will bunt. And he takes it right down Broadway for a strike one. Well, hot, steamy day. I could see down in the lower section they handed out those Bert Blyleven fans. Picture of Bert Blyleven on a stick, and a lot of those fans in that sunshine really kind of giving those fans a workout. 1-1 on the way. Foul back. So Getz finds himself in the hole. 1 ball, 2 strikes. See, looking out now with 2 strikes, Plouffe is still in on the grass at third base. Back up, cover a little more ground. Now he's getting some instructions. Swung on a miss. Getz, boy, tardy swing there. Just at the last minute, Trevor obviously seeing some instructions from inside the dugout. As Thielbar started to wind up, he tried to backpedal to get into position. 2 down, Dyson bats. Thielbar picks up a strikeout.
If you missed the discussion we had with Gardy today in our Menards pregame about the fact that Twins coaches want Plouffe to play in more often.
And Dyson shows bunt, pulls it back, and again here Plouffe in on the grass.
Twins coaches have felt that he's been, I guess, more susceptible to even those swinging bunts, if you will. Down the third base line, he's been playing so far back.
And a fastball inside moves him off the plate. 1-1.
So he was out earlier this morning working on just that with Joe Vavra at his side.
Well, I think what Twins are trying to do is kind of help his confidence out. Ground ball. Colabello on one knee, fields it, and he'll step on the bag. So Thielbar comes in, has a nice crisp 1-2-3 inning. 7th inning stretch coming up. Twins trail 3-1. You're listening to Twins Baseball. Well, that 7th inning stretch brought to you by KLN Family Brands, makers of Barrel of Fun snacks. Also Rachel's Kettle Chips, Wally Wallaby Licorice. It's the official snacks of the Minnesota Twins. From our family to yours, KLN Family Brands. For the Twins here in the bottom of the 7th inning, trailing by 2. It'll be Ryan Doumit, Trevor Plouffe, Chris Colabello. Finishing up on the Chris Parmalee and Trevor Plouffe, and the coach is trying to help out positioning Trevor Plouffe. They want to play in a little bit more. They're trying to just a couple things, and they're trying to help his confidence out. I think Trevor's confidence might be a little bit shot, and I think that's one thing that Gardy has always done so well, and that is be able to put a player in a position to where he can succeed. And those are the things really kind of go unnoticed to a lot of the fans. But I just think that they're showing some, hey, you're okay. We're going to help you out. We're going to move you here, ask you to play here. And then all of a sudden now that player's thinking, okay, helping me out here. I've got my confidence because probably helped me out in positioning myself. Because Trevor, I don't think it's a matter of where he's playing. Just his confidence is shot right now. Swung on and missed. Dome at bats. 2 balls and 1 strike. And I've always said this game is played with confidence. You leave the on deck circle when you take that donut off your bat. Stroll on up to the batter's box. You got some confidence in yourself. You're going to have some success. Swung on and missed there. Dome at fastball at 99. Good cut. You know, it's those guys that you can see when they leave the batter's box. Boy, they got a slow pace. They're daubers down. And a 2-2 on the way. Fastball up and away. That one at 98. So a 3-ball, 2-strike count. And with Herrera, he can walk a few. And with some of these guys batting right now, they can turn a fastball around. Here's a 3-2 on the way. Lifted foul, just got a piece of it. Herrera in the year has given up 9 home runs, 51 innings. So he can get hurt. Ryan this afternoon has 1 hit, 2 trips to the plate. And a 3-2 on the way. Lifted in the air, left field. Hit fairly well, but in the ballpark. And this ball drifts right in front of the warning track as Gordon puts it away. 1 out. Here's Trevor Plouffe.
Well, Danny, we just got some medical updates regarding 2 Twins players. Samuel Deduno left today's ball game with right shoulder soreness. Deduno 3 innings through 71 pitches, 4 runs and 3 hits. So right shoulder soreness is why Deduno left early. And also Wilkin Ramirez, a left shin contusion. Precautionary x-rays, but he is day to day. So left shin contusion for Ramirez.
And a running fastball in on Trevor Plouffe. Has to arch his back, get out of the way. So no break, just a contusion.
As of right now. Full report not in yet, but precautionary x-rays were taken. And all we know right now is listed as a contusion.
Sounds like it hurts. 1 ball, no strikes. Herrera delivers. Jam shot down the right field line, foul. Well, with Samuel Deduno, Corey, there was a little bit of history here that was reported a couple starts ago. A little tender. Last outing, said he was fine, and then all of a sudden here today, kind of flared up on him a little bit. And a 1-1. Check swing, foul ball. Well, scratching some heads next door. Edgardi, I'm sure, down in the Twins clubhouse, trying to find out how we can get some healthy bodies up here. 1-2 on the way. Foul back. Good cut there. Got a fastball at 99.
You'd almost have to think that a move is inevitable right now with how thin the bench is, with Arcia not available in any capacity, not DL'd, and Ramirez day to day right now.
And you had mentioned earlier about there was some talk about Swarzak possibly being a starter, and maybe he comes back on that plate as a possible chance to start. As Trevor Plouffe swings and misses at another fastball up in his eyes at 99. So Herrera picks up his first strikeout. And then at the same time, do you slide somebody out of a position that maybe they're unfamiliar with? Or do you just get a starter up here and slide him in if Deduno is going to miss that start, which I assume you're going to shut him down. Chris Colabello bats. Chris, rough afternoon. A couple of punch outs. He is now 0 for his last 18 with 12 strikeouts. And this one's right by him.
And staying on schedule, Deduno's next turn would be Tuesday in Houston. As Correa's going Sunday in the finale against the Rangers, Albers Monday. That Deduno would go Tuesday against the Astros in the upcoming road trip.
There's no question that they were talking about getting guys up here, so maybe they have a little time. And this one's lifted foul right side. Well, September call-ups. AAA gets in the playoffs. They could dip down to AA. And if they need to, grab somebody there. I know that Cole DeVries is down there. He's on the 40-man roster. So they're not in the playoffs, so maybe it's somebody like that. Ground ball, jam shot to the shortstop, and across the diamond to retire Colabello. So Herrera 3 up, 3 down, 7 complete here at Target Field. 3-1 KC. Boy, Provost will be back. He'll take you the rest of the way. You're listening to Twins Baseball.
Welcome back to the Treasure Island Baseball Network. Add a little play to your stay at Treasure Island Resort and Casino. Visit TICasino.com for hotel deals and to reserve your room tonight. Just to clean up, we were talking about Cole DeVries the last half inning. DeVries is actually going to start tonight for AAA Rochester playing against Buffalo. And 5 games to go for Rochester, a half game back in the wild card race, just 2.5 behind in the division race. 5 games to play. DeVries starting tonight for AAA. Gordon leads off against Thielbar. He swings and skies one in the air, shallow center field. Florimon out, shading the sun, backpedals into left field and puts it away. 1 pitch, 1 swing, and Gordon is on number 1. 3-1 Kansas City. Kansas City scored all 3 of its runs in 1 inning. That came in the second. It was a long inning for Duno. RBI singles, Escobar GETZ, scoring Butler and Maxwell. And later, Gordon, an RBI single himself, knocked in another run, capping off that 3-run inning. It stayed that way until a Brian Dozier homer in the 6th. As Bonifacio will now turn around and bat right-handed. And Thielbar misses outside, ball 1. Dozier's home run, a solo blast off Chen. The second deck in left field is 14th of the year, and that trimmed the Royals' lead to 2. From the stretch, and the 1-0. That's a knee-high strike called at 90 miles an hour. Duno, 3 innings, 3 runs, 4 hits, and the 1-1. Bouncing ball to third, gloved by Plouffe. He was playing up off the line. He throws him out. And there are 2 down. Well, there is exactly the play we're talking about. Plouffe playing up, taking the bunt away from Bonifacio, and made a nice diving play to his left, gloving that ground ball. Good throw across, 2 down. 2 down for Eric Hosmer. Pre-playing off the line of third at both of his cleats on the grass. On the left side, made a good play. Bonifacio's gone 2 down. And now Hosmer. 3-1 Royals, 8th inning. Lefty on lefty here. And the pitch is a sweeping slider missing outside. Ball 1. Again, Deduno, if you missed the news a moment ago, he left early. 3 innings through 71 pitches with right shoulder soreness. The official diagnosis from the Twins clubhouse: Wilkin Ramirez day to day right now with a left shin contusion. And a 1-0. That's low, ball 2. Terrific job by Ryan Presley. 3 scoreless innings of relief. He allowed 1 hit. Thielbar worked a 1-2-3 7th, and now trying to do the same here in the 8th. 2 down, the 2-0. Swing and a miss. Big cut by Hosmer. A fastball at 91. 2 balls and a strike. Josh Renicky up in the Twins bullpen. 2 balls, 1 strike on Hosmer. Here it comes. Swing and a miss. That was 88 back inside and down. 2-2. Twins have Herman, Thomas, and Dozier due up in the 8th. The 2-2. A swing and a foul. Doman hangs on. It's a strikeout. Inning over. Thielbar has seen 6, retired all 6. 7.5 complete. Twins still very much in this game. Royals 3, Twins 1. Your home for Twins baseball. Looking ahead now with U.S. Bank. Tomorrow the Twins head south. The Texas Rangers playing very good baseball. First of 3 in Arlington tomorrow night. Liam Hendricks and Yu Darvish. Pitching matchup for Game 1. Menard's pregame with Chris at 6:35. First pitch follows at 7:05 Central Time. When you're looking ahead of buying a house, college, or retirement, think U.S. Bank. U.S. Bank, all of us serving you. Royals 3, Twins 1. Last of the 8th inning. It'll be Herman, Thomas, Dozier due up, and the lefty Will Smith, featuring that really good slider, is now pitching, and Herman swings and misses at a fastball at 92, 0-1. Herman came out to hit for Ramirez, who injured his shin in a foul ball back in the 5th inning. Lefty on lefty here in the 8th, and the 0-1. Swing and a miss. Came right back with the heat at 92. So no balls and 2 strikes. Smith was in the ball game on Tuesday night with 2/3 of an inning with 2 strikeouts. You got Herman and MORNEAU. And the 0-2 fastball high, ball 1. So 3 pitches, all 3 have been fastballs. Glenn Perkins is up and warming right now in the Twins bullpen. Thomas on deck. And the 1-2 swing and a miss. There's the slider. And Herman strikes out. One away, 8th inning. Royals lead by 2. Bases empty for Thomas. The teams have 5 hits. On the run column right now, the Royals lead 3-1. Thomas 0 for 2 today. And the pitch, swing and a miss. 94 miles an hour, 0-1. And for as much discussion and hype the Royals starting staff receives, and the 0-1, swing and a miss, 0-2, and deservedly so. The bullpen equally impressive. The Royals overall have the best ERA in the American League. 0-2 on Thomas, and here it comes. Off speed, down low. Did not chase the slider that time, ball 1. So Kelvin Herrera worked earlier this game. To begin the season, Herrera was kind of the 8th inning man. Set a man for Greg Holland, but that role has changed throughout the summer. The leg kick and the 1-2. Thomas stares low. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Seventh inning now in Detroit. Oakland 6, Tigers 3. A's can sweep that 4-game series. The 2-2 inside, ball 3. Twins just need one guy to get on to give themselves a chance. The tying run would back. And the 3-2, Thomas sends one foul. Dozier on deck. He homered. Dozier, in fact, is 2 of the Twins' 5 hits today. Royals bullpen is quiet. Thomas, no batting gloves per usual. George KOTTARAS stands behind the plate, sending Smith signs. And the 3-2 swing and a miss. The slider. Looked like Thomas chased it, but it's a strikeout, 2 down. So now Dozier. He's homered, singled, and popped to short. 14 homers and 56 knocked in for Dozier. He can reach Flournoy. Bet next. And here it comes, and it misses outside, ball 1. Bonifacio at third, playing about even with the bag. Twins have not seen Moustakas this entire series. He's been out with a strep throat. And the 1-0 swung on line to center field. Dyson coming in, makes the catch near his right shoulder. Inning over. Twins don't score through 8. Royals 3, Twins 1. From Target Field, this is Twins Baseball. pitch at all. The weekend series in Cleveland has not been on the mound thus far in this series, and is on the mound right now in the 9th inning, trying to keep the Royals at 3 runs. 3-1 Kansas City. Butler, Maxwell, KOTTARAS 2 up. As Greg Holland, the Royals closer, is up and throwing here in the 9th inning. Perkins from the belt, and the pitch is a slider in for a strike called on Butler. 0-1. Presley, 3 scoreless innings. Thielbar, 2 perfect innings. A couple of strikeouts. And the 0-1. Knocked foul to right. Slicing out of play. 0-2 now on Butler. Final meeting this year between these two teams, and the Royals have taken 14 of 18. And the 0-2, another foul. This one looped out of play. An interesting note from Chris Attenberg during the Toyota postgame download last night. Since day one of Twins baseball back in 1961, no team has ever defeated the Twins 15 times in 1 year. And the 0-2, he got him. Swing and a miss, strike 3. On the slider, Butler is gone. 1 away. Royals lead by 2. Bases empty for Justin Maxwell. 14 wins has happened numerous times. Happened a year ago. The White Sox beat the Twins 14 times in 1 year. The 61 Yankees beat the Twins 14 times. And nobody's ever done it 15 times. The Royals can today, unless the Twins can rally. 1 down for Justin Maxwell. The fastball misses high, ball 1. And looking ahead to the 9th inning, the Twins have Florimon, Morneau, and Willingham due up. Maxwell today 1 for 2. An RBI and a run scored. And the 1-0. Swing and a miss. Blew by at 95. 1 ball, 1 strike. Partly cloudy, warm afternoon. Temperatures in the upper 80s at game time. And the 1-1. Check swing. Didn't matter. Strike called. Letter high strike. Again 95 on the in-house radar gun. 1-2 on Maxwell. And Salvador Perez has emerged from the Royals dugout. He is going to bat for KOTTARAS. And the 1-2. Maxwell strikes out swinging. 96. Elevated fastball, and Maxwell chased it. So 2 up, 2 down. And now Perez. A remarkable performance for the 23-year-old catcher Perez last night. His first career multi-homer game. He knocked in 4. Officially went 4 for 5. He faces Perkins here in the 9th inning. And the pitch is a strike called inside edge at 0-1. Perez on the season hitting .281 with 9 home runs. Good matchup here. Power against power. And the 0-1. Swinging a foul. Not a good cut. Rolled that ground ball right to Escobar. The Royals on deck area. And now it's 0-2. Perkins 63 strikeouts and just over 51 innings this year. He struck out Butler. Maxwell swinging, and now 0-2 on Perez. Kansas City 3, Twins 1, 9th inning. And the 0-2 line to right, going to fall for a base hit. So Perez goes the opposite way. There's a fastball at 96, and Perez picks up another hit against the Twins this season. Brought up his name to Gardy during our pregame chat today about this young core, this young offensive core with the Royals. And guys like Hosmer, Moustakas, Butler, and deservedly so, receive so much attention. But might the guy at first base, might he be the best all-around player right now? Escobar loops one foul to the right side, 0-1. He's 23 years old, Perez. He signed a multi-year extension. He blossomed a year ago. Escobar 1 for 3 today. He swings and loops one foul off the screen behind the plate. 0-2. Yes, you can include Alex Gordon in that group as well. And Gordon has signed. He's not going anywhere for the immediate future. The leg kick and the 0-2 in the dirt. Pops away from Domet. No chance for Perez to advance 90 feet. Ball and 2 strikes in Escobar. Escobar's third year with Kansas City after being traded from Milwaukee. December of 2010. Zach Greinke trade. And the 1-2 he got. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Perkins strikes out the side. The Royals don't score. They leave 1. Last wraps for the Twins. Royals have a 3-1 lead on your home for Twins baseball. MLB.TV celebrates 11 years. Catch all of the second half action in beautiful HD quality. Watch every out-of-market game live on more than 350 mobile and connected devices. Home territory blackout restrictions do apply. Visit MLB.TV today. MLB.TV, baseball everywhere. Last of the 9th inning, Twins need 2 to tie. Pedro Florimon, Justin Morneau, Josh Willingham due up, Greg Holland. Closer for the Royals, 35 saves and 37 tries as the 9th inning. Royals 3, Twins 1. Florimon, switch hitting shortstop, now bats left-handed. 0 for 3 today. And the pitch is in for a strike call at 96 miles an hour, 0-1. Additionally, Holland now pitching, and Perez, who hit for Kottaras a moment ago, remains in the ballgame and is now catching. Holland features a fastball, slider, and a splitter. And the 0-1 off speed, and Florimon rolls one foul near the Twins' first base dugout. 0-2. Florimon batting in the 2-hole today, just the second time all year he found himself in that spot. And a spark, a 9th inning surge. Twins need one guy to reach to give themselves a chance. And the 0-2. Strike 3 call. Came off speed. There's the splitter. On the outside edge. Twins bench thought that was outside, but Alan Porter rings up Florimon. Now it's out number 1. Right now, Bruce Chen and Samuel Deduno, the pitchers of record. 1 down for Morneau. 0 for 3 today. He's bounced out all 3 times. 1 for 11 in this series. Willingham on deck. 3-1 Kansas City. And the pitch, a swing, a bouncing ball to short. Escobar has it near the second base bag and throws to first. 2 down. Barring a rally, stay tuned for the Toyota postgame download. Quick recap with Chris and Danny as they pack up and head off to the airport. Chris has all the scores and highlights, including that Oakland Tigers game still in progress at Comerica Park. Some injury news on Miguel Cabrera. All that and more coming up with Chris momentarily. 2 down for Willingham. 9th inning, 3-1 Royals. And the pitch is outside, ball 1. Willingham today 0 for 2 with a walk. Blue skies and sunshine right now at Target Field. And Hollins 1-0, a swing and a pop-up foul, first base side. Hosmer racing over, warning track near the dugout and runs out of room. That ball falls into the Twins dugout, and Hosmer a couple steps inside as well. 1 ball, 1 strike. Also coming up on the download, some sounds from the Twins clubhouse as well. Some updated injury news on both Deduno and Ramirez, who both had to leave this game with injuries. 1 ball, 1 strike on Willingham. 9th inning, bases empty, 2 down. Royals lead by 2. And the pitch is off speed, missed inside. 2-1. We will greet you next from Rangers Ballpark in Arlington. Hendricks and Darvish. Rangers in first place. The A's 2.5 back, entering play today. Now the 2-1. Low ball 3. Fastball at 97. Delmott hoping for a chance. He would bat only if Willingham can reach and extend this game. Holland holds the ball high above his right shoulder. The leg kick and the 3-1 check swing, and it's low ball 4. It's a 2-out walk, and the Twins have a chance. Ryan Domick can tie things up with one mighty swing. Domick 1 for 3 today. He's been stuck on 49 RBIs for a while, 11 home runs. Hosmer will hold Willingham on at first. Domick, a switch hitting catcher, bats left-handed. Of his 11 home runs, 10 have come from the left side. Royals 3, Twins 1, 9th inning. 1 on, 2 down. And the pitch, a swing, a bouncing ball to first and foul. A fastball at 98 from Holland. Holland took over as the Royals closer last year after Jonathan Broxton was traded away. In July, Holland's been in this role. It's kind of a shaky start earlier this season, but really ever since mid-April, Holland's been almost lights out. He has saved 28 consecutive games. The Twins trying to rally off him today. 1 on, 2 out, 3-1 Royals. And the 0-1. Bender misses inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Maxwell deep and right, playing him straight away. Willingham leads, and the 1-1 off speed outside, ball 2. If Domick can reach, then Trevor Plouffe would have a chance. Good count for Domick. 2 balls and a strike. Royals 3, Twins 1. And the pitch, a check swing foul. He was fooled off speed, and Domick knocked it behind the plate, and now the Twins are down to their final strike. 2-2 on Domick. Hosmer now playing behind Willingham at first. 2 outs. 2-2 the count. And here it comes. Swing and a miss. Doman strikes out. And the Royals complete the sweep and end the season series, winning 15 of 19 games. It's all over. Royals win it today by a score of 3-1. Twins fall to 57-75. Kansas City now 69-64. It's all over. Royals 3, Twins 1. We'll come back and recap this one more time from the John Gordon broadcast booth. But first we check in with Chris Atterbury for a complete preview on today's Toyota postgame down. Chris?